first game between John and Rakowski.
I think you're going to tell by the crowd favorite who he's going to be, John Rakowski. He's got a whole group of people back here cheering him on.
Yeah, he sure does. Players got here by making it through 14 games of qualifying, an advancers round of 5 games, and then they made it through bracket play. 3 games, total pins.
Yeah. The 3 games total pins is something new to us. We haven't done that in the past. It's always either been all match play or best 3 out of 5 or some kind of elimination, but it's never been, it's kind of like the Masters 3-game totals, which is a unique, nice new flavor for us out here on the senior tour.
Walter Ray, also the defending champion. Walter told me earlier this week that he just wanted to cash this week. He hasn't been throwing the ball too well lately, but he worked some things out in his arm swing, and maybe you can allude to a little bit more of that, Tom, what he's talking about.
Well, he was, during the practice round, he had asked Johnny Petraglia, he goes, he's having a problem with the swing, and what Johnny had told him, he noticed Walter usually kind of loops the ball out and brings it really tight into his side and is really right underneath his head at the point of release. And Johnny said that he wasn't doing that. He said, so make it feel like your sleeve of your shirt is touching your side as you come through from the peak of your swing, and it's obviously worked.
Craig Elliott's been here with us all week. Craig, you got a copy down there?
I do, come through loud and clear. I got a question on that. So we got Johnny Petraglia helping out Walter Ray Williams Jr. That doesn't even sound fair, does it? 2 of the greatest of all time working together.
That's probably why they're the greatest of all time.
And it looks like it was a good tip for Walter. Quickly, I've got Jeff Johnson here, ball rep for the Brands of Brunswick. He's actually got both players in this first match. Jeff, what are the guys throwing down there?
Well, we just moved Rakowski. He was going to use the Columbia Speed. He's been using Ebonite GB4 pretty much all weekend, and with the last few shots, it was time to get him, back into that. And he threw some pretty good shots right there at the end. It's like, you know what? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Let's just stay with what that is. So Tom was working with Walter more than I was, so I think he's using the Evo Pearl. That's what he was throwing the most. He had a Brunswick Defender up there for a while, but he's been pretty solid with that Evo Pearl most of the day today at least. So should be a good match.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Back to you guys.
John making it look really pretty simple, but he's no stranger to winning. Again, we mentioned it earlier that he's won the TAT twice. He's just and I don't think his expression ever changes. I don't know if he's got 100 in a row or he hasn't done anything. He just looks the same. He's got formaldehyde in his system. He's just cool, calm, and collected.
Walter Ray with a double of his own.
Yeah, double.
Well, both of them are playing probably pretty close to their favorite line. A little straighter, a little farther outside. He said Rakowski was going to start out with that speed. Tyler had shined that up for him, and it looked pretty good there at the start of practice, but then it just looked like it wasn't reading quite the way that is comfortable for John, and he switched back to that GB4. Well, that was the break of the century right there. Twisting out the 7-pin.
Scores have been very high this week. They're bowling on the 42 feet in length Mark Roth pattern. 32 feet is the oil. It buffs to 42, about a 4.4 to 1 ratio. Still pretty flat, but when you give these guys anything over 3 to 1, they can really light them up.
Well, they have a hook spot that they can throw it to, and they know that the ball is going to react. So when you throw it to the hook spot, he got that in. He never got it to the right. But when you got a hook spot, your swing kind of loosens up a little bit because you know if you throw it to the right, it's coming back. Yeah, that ball never seen right. It was straight up the lane.
Covers the spare. So max 278 early in the match and 290 for Walter Ray Williams Jr.
It's funny we talk about maxes, but that's what the scores have been like all day, just huge scores. 79, 290, 289. Chris Barnes almost had 300. He had 279 his last match to get to the top 5.
Wrap 10 for John.
Rakowski with it. Well, but that's
John's just so smooth the line. He gets set up. He's got his hand under the ball, and he just looks like he just lets the ball swing his arm. He never tries to overwork the ball.
All right, we're clean through 4.5 frames here in the opening match. Tell you what, we're so excited to be bringing you the Pba50 Tour here on Bowl TV. It's really awesome, the opportunity that came up. I want to thank everybody that's recently subscribed to Bowl TV and those of you that are fans of the Pba50 Tour.
Great shot by Walter. Gives him spare 4-bagger.
today. Got 4 in the bowl.
We were, I think everybody on the PBA Senior Tour is wondering what was going to happen if there was going to be any kind of coverage, and Bowl TV stepped up and picked it up, and it's going to be a great season. We got 17 stops, and I think you guys are here all 17 stops.
Yep, all 17, all the way through the PBA 60 events as well.
And that's still open.
Walter Ray, spare 5-bagger, doing what he does, strike a lot. Walter, the last year, broke John Handegaard's record of 14 PBA senior titles. Now Walter has 15, and at this rate, he's looking to make it 16. John back on the hunt with the strike, but he needs to put some strikes together.
I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat right now that is tuning in. We see all the comments in there while we're up here mixing the show and bringing you the coverage. I want to encourage everybody to participate in the chat. It is a great way to interact with other fellow bowlers as well as us up here in the booth.
And they can ask questions through the chat if we have something that they need to know or would like for us to find out.
Bada boom. We got ourselves a match here.
Rakowski doubled in 6 and 7.
John Rakowski, 267 if he goes off the sheet. Walter going at a 290 pace. And you wouldn't think a 42-foot pattern on a 4-to-1 ratio would be that much of a strike fest, but it definitely has been this week.
What a great shot there by Walter. Let's take a look at it again. Watch Walter.
Walter doing what he does best, playing that outside angle. I mean, if you've ever watched professional bowling on TV, you've seen Walter play this shot a ton, and he can repeat, and that's the biggest thing about here. No matter what the pattern is, once you find it, you got to be able to repeat it. And Walter's known for just repeat.
I believe we call that the ham turkey dinner in the live streaming world. Craig reminded me that a little bit earlier.
Well, John up on the right lane in the 8th, and he definitely has to put the 8th and 9th together to even put any kind of pressure back onto Walter. John is just so ho-hum, carefree. It's like, oh well.
He's got a great look. Don't forget the winner of this match is going to take on Chris Barnes. Chris has been on fire in these 3-game shootouts, especially the third game.
The third game has been, 279, 289, 279? That might be the most excitement you see out of John Rakowski. A little bit of a fist pump right there, and that was that was it.
We got a heck of a match here. 267 the max for Rakowski. Walter Ray can still bowl 290. And Chris Barnes just fouled down on the practice pair.
That's a. And we were talking about ball speed in the previous matches. You look it up here, these guys are throwing it on this pair 15-5.
Hey, let's send it down to Craig Elliott. I think he's standing by with Chris Barnes, maybe?
Yeah, guys, I got Chris down here, and he's going to go clean up that spare. But, Chris, you're getting ready to bowl for potentially another title here in a couple games with a couple wins. What's your strategy getting ready for this match?
Well, these guys are both playing to the right. We broke them down. I'm just going to be a little bit inside of them. And, Brad's going to want to play the right. Dino's probably going to play closer where I am. Not a lot of strategy. Just going to try and find which one will knock out the ring 10. They might get a little bit clipped with these guys playing where they're playing, but just figure out which one gets through them. Got 8 shots figured out.
All right, thanks, Chris. Good luck.
That was almost a 5-7 there.
Certainly was. We saw Parker Bone do that to not make the show. He left a 5-10 on his side of the lane.
And we keep talking about ball speed just because I think it's a factor on this pattern. That was a faster shot than he'd been thrown by almost a mile an hour. So maybe it never gave the ball enough lane time to read the pattern.
Walter
and make it
needs
up in
his
the pocket.
spare. He's got it. So Walter can bowl 269, 267 the max. So Walter needs 9 on this ball. And he will advance to take on Chris Barnes. That's tough. Making this show and possibly bowling 267 and not winning?
And not even getting a sniff? I mean,
No, not at all.
9, strike. Walter.
Strike's going to do it.
Walter advances. Hey, John Rakowski bowled. He's bowled great all week, and he just kept climbing the ladder, getting higher and higher up, and obviously ends up making the show. If he comes out on the senior tour, we're definitely going to see more of him.
What a great opening game here for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Again, he is the defending champion.
John's swing on that front view there is just so fluid through the shot, kind of open hands it, just lets the ball read the lane. It's incredible.
He still finished up with 267.
We just had those 2 little hiccups right there in the 4th and 5th. But literally both these guys, we could have had a 300 to 300 match the way they were bowling.
Absolutely, Tom.
That would have been nice to see.
So the final score of our opening match. Walter Ray Williams Jr. defeats John Rakowski 269 to 267.
Like and subscribe.